The sea takes what it wants.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I think it's crazy that we can actually make stuff like this now. Hello everybody. So Midjourney and Leonardo are perhaps the two biggest AI image generators going, and in this video I'm going to put them head to head. Both of these tools recently had major updates, and one of the big features that has come about with each is the inclusion of animation features. And what we're going to do is I'm going to put both tools head to head, and I'm going to show you what each is capable of. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to make a set of like 10 or so images using similar prompts, and I'm going to make them in both Leonardo and then Midjourney. And we're also going to animate them in both tools and just see what works best. I have already created the image prompts in question. I actually did this with ChatGPT to save time. I just asked it for 10 versatile scenes that I can showcase both tools. And I also asked for some extra bonus things that will involve DALL-E and GPT-friendly images. The first one is to depict a high-speed car in the desert. We'll just make the images first and then we'll talk about what you can do further from here. So we've got a Roman soldier close-up, and we've got neon-soaked alleyway, cyberpunk style. Just for context, I'm using an unlimited plan with Midjourney. We will talk about the different plans and compare them after the demonstration. We've got an astronaut on an alien planet, interesting. A samurai duel in the rain. World War II dogfight over a city. Majestic fantasy castle on a cliff. And here's some bonus ones that I asked for, where I asked it to do an iconic character, because this is basically what I do in my niche. So Indiana Jones in Midjourney, there we go. And Darth Vader, because why not? Here we go. So what I like about Midjourney is it defaults to making 4 images at a time, so you can already sort of like, you can compare the different ones it's made and choose your favourite. So that's our car, this is our Roman soldier close-up, this is our sort of like establishing style shot of a cyberpunk alley. Medieval feast. Amazing. A 1940s film noir detective office. One thing I'm going to just point out about Midjourney, if you're not familiar with it at all, what it excels at is stylistic interpretation in text form. So when you put something like 1940s film noir detective, it understands what that means. Now we've got our Indiana Jones character reference. Now we didn't even need a character reference here because Indiana Jones and Harrison Ford are two iconic faces. And Darth Vader, of course, same thing, just instantly recognisable, iconic. Okay, so now we've got our first 10 images made. Let's just talk quickly about what's actually going on up here, because these are some powerful features in Midjourney. So that's the animation features, we're going to get into that later. These are the 3 I just want to talk about real quick. So omnireference is a feature that came out with version 7, I believe. What that basically does is it allows us to, like say we wanted to use this guy again. Well, we can upload the image there as a reference, and that is using it as a character reference. Now omni strength, as far as I know, my understanding of it is, the higher you set it, the more strictly it will adhere to the original character, and the lower you set it, the more creative liberties it will take. I keep it squarely in the middle, or just shy of squarely in the middle, so 450. I think it goes up to 1000. That's what that does. Now the other thing you can do is style reference here. Basically that's self-explanatory. It uses the style of an image. So let's say we like this character, but we like the style of this image. We can now use that as a style reference. And let's say we like the content, say this image. This uses the elements of an image. Let's see what happens if we try and combine all 3 of these. I've decided we're going to be making a Roman soldier standing in front of an ancient temple. The style reference in particular is a very powerful tool, and I'll just show you why. This is a video that I have in the works for a history channel, Oh, I wish I could show you that image properly. I think you can see quite clearly I've used this sort of like gloomy kind of overcast image where everything's got like a bit of a green tinge to it as a style reference, and every single image that's come out when using that kind of looks like it's in the same world. It's like being shot with the same kind of like camera and whatnot. That's what the style reference is so good at doing. Gives your images this like super clean professional like consistency. So we were using this as a style reference on our crazy image where we were come down and everything there. Okay, that is pretty much a combination of the 3 images like I requested. This is a very strange version of a Roman soldier, I've got to say, but it's probably a combined Indiana Jones with a Roman soldier, and it has kind of borrowed some of the colour scheme of the reference image. But yeah, you can see it, like if I this is a perfect one to demonstrate what I mean. So if we're going to do a style reference here, we could use this as a style reference and then say, in this latest prompt, all I've said is what I want, and then use that image as a style reference. And as you can already see, it's making something quite appropriate without needing the text reference as well. Another thing you could do with a style reference is you could go and find a still from a movie you like, say something cool, like Space Odyssey for instance. Like let's say you really liked the style of like this image here. Find something a bit better maybe. Yeah, this image here. And you wanted to use it as a style reference. So all you do, you can just drag it like that. Drop it in there. Easy. As you can see by the way, our previous image is made. And it's matched the reference perfectly. So the way I think of style references, it's almost like something like it's like a filter you can put on the entire project. If I just go back to that history thing, it's like a cinematic filter you've put in across the entire thing. Generally found with style references, you want images where there's not too much going on, where there's not too many like characters or people in the shot. Okay, so Leonardo is very different. The key difference is, whereas Midjourney's interface is very simple and you've just got describe what you imagine plus some like basic options for over here. What's going on Leonardo is you get all these different models and presets to choose from. It can do graphic design, it's got Flux, Phoenix. I can't really fully get into what all these do and what the differences are between them because I'm not fully sure, to be honest, at this point, because the updates come so quick these days, and these right here, all relatively new, including this one, which we're going to talk about at some point. This one's very new, so is that one. I use this one a lot. I've used this one quite often in the past. We'll just have a quick look at that actually. So cinematic keynote, pretty self-explanatory. It's great for making cinematic and realistic looking images. Over here you've got your generation mode. Do you want to do it fast or do you want to focus on quality? I typically do make the best quality if I can. You can select how many images you want to make at a time. You've got your image dimensions. You can do custom ones here. You can also play around with the contrast and the style. There's just so many different options, and this is all great to have, and it is an interesting advantage over Midjourney. It's not necessarily better, it's just different. So if we revisit our original prompts, the 10 that we had, it phrased them differently. For Leonardo, as you can see, it also added this no text part for some reason. Don't think we need that. So we'll just create the same images. And maybe I will just shift between the different models as I do this so you can get a feel for what they do, because I think that would be useful. So this is Cinematic Kino, Roman Soldier Close Up. So there is a great mode for that, which is Portrait Perfect. And we'll keep that all as is. Then we've got our Cyberpunk Alleyway. So we'll just try out Lucid Origin. Actually, we'll use Lucid Realism because that sounds good. And I've never tried it before, so it's going to be a first for the video. We'll try this one, the Medieval Feast Hall again. And for this, we'll try Lucid Origin. Astronaut on an alien planet. Okay. Let's try Lucid Realism for that again. Samurai in the rain. The same one we're on now, and then our Darth Vader one. Let's go to the beginning. So we've got our car, and this is in the cinematic Kino model, I believe. And you know what? I quite like that. Let's do a side-by-side comparison actually, shall we? So this is like what Midjourney did on the right. This is Leonardo. Midjourney here. I quite like both, but you can probably see how each does very different things, and that's going to become more apparent as we cycle through the things it's made. So there's our Roman soldier. We made this in Leonardo Kino XL. Again, very different styles of image. Both really good in their own way, but definitely there's a distinctive like feel between the two. That's really cool. In fact, I think that's definitely the winner there. This is where we started using Lucid Origin on the next one for the Medieval Feast. Okay, now this image here is looking a bit like a video game, bizarrely. I think that was with that Origin model. Amazing. I think that's my preferable as well to this. Like, this is really cool. But you know what? So is that. I think the World War II stuff is definitely a winner with Leonardo. This is good. In fact, it's really good. What Midjourney did. But I'm just liking that you can actually see, look, this is a Spitfire. There's less sort of like blur and stuff. It's just really cool in its own way. It's different. Okay, this one, yeah, I think Midjourney won. That still would be a very usable image in the right context, by the way. And you could easily replicate this style in Midjourney. In fact, you could probably just drag this over as a style reference right now. There's our noir office, which I think this Midjourney hands down wins here, because, you know, content-wise, sure, it's captured the look, but this, vibe-wise, that looks pure like film noir. Okay, let's see if it had any luck with Indiana Jones. Nope, that's a clear winner to Midjourney. It's so much better at recognizing terms like, you know, when you use a character. Exception being, of course, it would seem Darth Vader. It seems every AI generator knows who Darth Vader is. So when it comes to these two image generators, there's clear strengths and weaknesses with both, in my opinion. Midjourney excels at stuff that is more vibey, like, for instance, this stuff here. That like captures like real like old film styles and that. Like, you can do something that's set in the 1950s or the 40s or whatever, and it'll understand what you're going for when you mention that. Also, of course, when you type in famous characters, Midjourney is trained on more of that stuff, which is great as well if you're doing that kind of stuff. Leonardo, what I like is you've got all these like very specific different models that you can choose from, and they all excel at different things. There's ones that we didn't even look at, like you've got this illustrative one, the anime one, concept art, graphic design, whatever. And I don't even know what some of these do. I also like that you can go for like ultra high quality images, like really high dimension stuff, and you get a lot of options with the styles and that between the various models. Now, one of the secret weapons that you have access to on Leonardo, and we will just look at real quick, is this right here. So we're just going to generate some fake posters and book cover designs and whatnot using the GPT model in Leonardo. This is what I always use when I'm in Leonardo. If I'm using it for anything, it's almost certainly this. I'll just show you what this does. One thing to note with this is you're better off using the highest setting if you're doing something that's quite specific, and the closest output to like 16 by 9 dimensions is 3 by 2. I don't know why, but that's the way it is. And yeah, whilst that's doing, because it will take some time, I will just try and demonstrate why I can't make this in Midjourney, or why it's not as preferable. So we'll do this, As you can see, by the way, using the GPT model does cost a fair few credits on Leonardo. This is like the go-to for like super specific prompts. If you have something that you want, like if you have an image that you want something like loads of details on, like loads of text, and you want to be accurate and not do what AI generators typically do when they get text prompts, which is fuck them up, let's be honest, this is the go-to. You can actually use ChatGPT itself for this, but it's really slow. There we go. So that right there is exactly what I'm talking about. Do you see how accurate it is based on what we said? We wanted a soda pop advertisement for an ice cold glass bottle with a fizz or cola label written on it. And what else did it say? And then, yeah, it says refresh your day. Look at that. Perfect. Literally what we asked for. Here's the same thing on Midjourney. And as you can see, spelling mistakes abound. We've got Coca-Cola instead of our fake fizz or cola from the prompt. Got some more weird writing down here. Still a good image. In fact, it seems to have almost got the spelling right on that one. But as you can see, it's all over the place. So each model in Leonardo has its own versions of the style reference and character references and whatnot that Midjourney has. In the GPT model, you just get this one. I hadn't really looked at that before, so I'm not going to go into it. But if we go to something like Cinematic Keynote, you have these options. You can use style reference, yeah, basically the same thing as what Midjourney has. The character reference, that's how you can create consistency, and again you could create like images of well-known people or characters. And then you got the content reference. That is almost identical to what's going on Midjourney, but there's also other things going on. Like there's just so much here. As you can see, I have not explored many of these options, to be honest. Hopefully you can see there's a lot of similarities between the two, but there's some key differences too. And depending on your purposes, what you're going for, you might find yourself opting for one versus the other. But yeah, they're both very strong, and you can't really go wrong with either, to be honest. It's mainly I would just say play around with both and just see which one you gravitate towards. I mean, the thing I love the most, as I say, about Leonardo at the moment is this GPT feature, because even though it costs a lot of credits, it's just so good for dialing in very specific images that you want. The other thing, of course, is we've now got this lucid realism that's looking very promising. So is the lucid origin. I have yet to fully mess around with them, to be honest. So we're going to move on now, and we're going to look at the animation features of both. So it would make sense, I would say, to animate the images we've been making here. I'm not going to overcomplicate this. I'm just going to choose one from each in both platforms and just animate them. So when it comes to the animation features in Midjourney, you get 4 options. I'm going to use auto for the purposes of this video, but just to give you a quick explanation, manual basically means you can type in a specific prompt explaining what you want. So perhaps you want this car, rather than to drive down the road, you want it to explode or fly off into the space. I don't know. I think that's what those are for, mainly. We're just going to do low motion animations here. And yeah, we'll go from there. Animate this, animate that. I'm not going to do them all, actually. I don't think I'm going to bother with these. So I am actually on a relaxed plan at the moment, because I am out of credits. So however many I've just got to animate, that's as many as we're going to be able to do for the time being. While those are animating over there, we're going to animate some of these here. Now this is really cool. I've not even seen this. This is Leonardo's latest update, which is Motion 2.0. Currently only does 720p quality max, but that's something you can get around when it comes to YouTube by upscaling outside of the platform. But it looks like you've got, yeah, you do. You've got all these motion controls, like you can do crane overhead, crane up, crash zoom in, bullet time. That's crazy. Anyway, I have to type in a prompt. Car traveling at high speed. It will generate. Let's animate this one. The man speaks. Very basic stuff. We can also try crash zoom in for this, why not, see what happens. And let's try this one as well. It's a pretty good explanation of what's going on there, I would say. And yeah, let's do the dolly out for this one. That's a pretty cool feature. Okay, whilst these are animating here, we'll have a look at Midjourney, see how it's getting on. This is relaxed mode on Midjourney. I do have an unlimited plan. As you can imagine, what it does is it allows you to create as many images as you want and as many videos as you want at a relaxed rate. I am actually out of credits for fast generation, so it does take a bit longer, but to be honest, the wait time is hardly anything in my view. You can sort of see it animating as you go as well, which is really cool. So that's the car one in Leonardo. A bit clunky looking, but I mean, still very good. This is the general talking. Pretty cool. And what I like again with Midjourney is it gives you multiple options, and yeah, I think you can see straight away these are really cool. It defaults to, I think, 5-second clips, as you can see there. I mean, look at that. That is ace. And it's good that you get multiple options as well, even though it kind of is a similar shot to start with, because it's starting from the same point. Okay, that's yeah, that didn't quite come out as intended. For some reason that guy's sword exploded out of nowhere. That's perfect. This one's exactly what we asked for, a dolly out shot. Quick 5-second shot. You can slot that into a project, no problem. As far as fast motion shots go, like a car travelling really fast, I know this is only one example, but in my experience, and to be fair, I have used Midjourney more for this, it excels at this like a lot. Just to show you what I usually use, and still, like, this is my go-to. This is what I use when I am actually animating stills usually. This is Runway here. So if I download the original image of that car, for instance, and can I actually just drag it? Ah, there we go. If I just drag it across to Runway here and describe exactly what I want, maybe I'll use the exact same quote we used for muscle car speeding down a cracked desert highway. I'm only going to use that because I found with Runway, shorter prompts are best. And, you know, you can do 5 seconds or 10 seconds. I always do 10 seconds so that I have more if I need it. I always use Gen 4 Turbo, and bam, generate. Again, I've got an unlimited plan on Runway, but I do have some credits, but I'm going to save them just for the purposes of this video. So this is the animation of the same image that we just animated in Runway, and this is what it looks like. And for starters, the car's traveling the wrong way, but that would be easy enough to fix in post. I know from experience that animating these kind of high motion style images in Runway, it's not what it excels at. It's fantastic. Like if I give it this image that we're animating right now in Midjourney, it would be perfect for that. But for this kind of stuff, Midjourney is way better. So yeah, hopefully this gives you a bit of an idea of the differences between these two tools. Another thing, just while we're on the subject, that is worth mentioning is that one of the really cool things that we have access to in Leonardo AI, aside from this thing that's coming soon, this new feature, we have Veo3. Now Veo3 has been all the rage recently, and just to quickly demonstrate what you can do over here, we are going to create a video with Veo3. So I asked ChatGPT to create a cool prompt for this, which includes dialogue, and I'm just going to drop it in. It's an old sea captain on the deck of a storm-tossed ship at night. Very cool. Let's see what it does. That's going to eat up a fair chunk of credits, but hey ho, it's worth it. Like what you used to have to do is you had to pick one of these image generators first, make your images, then take them over to an animator like Runway or Kling or any of the others. But what you've got now is the option of doing them all, like doing everything within the one like app. Like you can do your images and your animations all within Midjourney or Leonardo. which is very cool because, you know, when you have to stack multiple tools and pay for them all, it adds up quick.
The sea takes what it wants.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I think it's crazy that we can actually make stuff like this now. This technology is very new. I can't imagine what we'll be doing a year from now. Yeah, that costs a lot of credits to make, but what an amazing thing to be able to do. You know, the sound effects were there, the dialogue was there, and it's an accurate reflection of what we asked for. I would say this is a big draw for Leonardo. It's a big win over Midjourney to actually have access to this. It's very cool. In terms of animation, it's really about preference, I would say, and taste, like what you prefer. But yeah, this was a breakdown of Midjourney and Leonardo. We should look at some prices now, just so you can get an idea for what your options are. The subscription I'm on is this Pro plan here. I pay on a yearly basis, which saves about 20%. It's about $48 a month, as you can see. Well, not about, it is $48 a month. And for that you get unlimited relaxed image and standard definition video generations. That right there is the reason I went for this plan. On the plan below this you have unlimited relaxed image generations, which is again very, very useful. And the cool thing about that is if you're using like an outside animator like I am, like Runway, Kling, whatever it might be, this is a great plan to have because you can just make as many images as you want and you can just outsource the animation to another tool. But if you wanted an all-in-one and that suited you best, this plan is great. Right at the lower end of here, the plans start ridiculously cheap. You don't get much for this one, but you do get enough if you just want to dip your toe in and have a go. If we go over to Leonardo, now on Leonardo we have unlimited image generation still, again, roughly at a similar price, a bit more than Midjourney. So the plan's actually, sorry, now that I'm looking at it, if you pay yearly, they're very, very similar to Midjourney. The Pro plan that I'm on, which is very similar to this Maestro plan, where you've got unlimited generation of images and I think also potentially video generations. That plan is $48 a month if on a yearly plan, in exactly the same way as this Midjourney yearly plan, Pro plan is. What I do like about the Apprentice plan, which I think is the one I'm on Leonardo, is you get 8,500 tokens monthly, which you'd eat up pretty fast if you were doing like a lot of video or even a lot of images, to be honest. But it also has this token bank so that it doesn't waste all your credits and reset them on a monthly basis. If you don't use all 8,500, you get a rollover for so many months. I use both. I use Midjourney and Leonardo at this point because I create a lot of images on a weekly basis, as I've said. I also pay for Runway, the unlimited plan there. Yeah, they're both very, very good at what they do. The best thing you can do is sort of give each a go, because it doesn't actually cost to try these tools. They have very limited free plans that you can try out, and it wouldn't cost much, like on a monthly fee, for like the basic plans, just to test each one out. But hopefully this video has helped you sort of like see the differences between the two as they stand in 2025 after all the recent updates. If I had to choose one to use, it would probably be Midjourney, but that's only because it's the one I use the most and therefore I know the most. Half the battle is actually knowing the tool and how to use it, and when you know it well, you can get the results you want quicker. Anyway, that is all for this video, and I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you found it useful and illuminating. If you do have any questions about these tools, if you want to know more about them and how to use them, just drop a comment and I'll be happy to reply. If you want to see any breakdowns of any of the tools I use, if you want to hear about my workflow for how I make my AI trailers on my other channel, please do let me know. That's all for this one. This is the first video on the channel, as I said, and hopefully the first of many more. And yes, that's it. Me signing off, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.